Welcome, it's your boy Mariko.
Million Mo Easy.
Very special guest here today.
Very special guest.
What do you go by? I know so many names for you.
You can call me MC Fran, you can call me Frantastic, or you just call me Fran.
Fantastic.
Which one do you
I like
Frantastic?
Fantastic is the go-to.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Fantastic.
And what do you do?
What do? I do a little bit of everything. Everybody.
Host?
No, I don't want to say everybody, but sometimes people who don't know me don't realize where I come from. We were talking earlier, I was a promoter at Ultra Bar, so I'm a promoter.
Hey.
I've had 5 radio shows, so I'm a radio show host. I hosted Howard and the Fillmore, so I'm a stage host.
Okay.
And almost every other club that you've been out here, from a Cafe Asia to the Red Lounge to the Pures, I've hosted all those. Also involved with Will Rap for Food, Santa Claus, and all different kinds of things that are like community-based oriented philanthropy. That's what I do.
Okay.
Right now I'm working on the spot media interviews with famous people.
So you were doing that before WLVS, Bliss FM?
Before I did WLVS and Bliss FM, I was a ballroom dancer for a little bit, like competitive ballroom dancer. I know it's weird, but that's what I did. I did Latin dance, all that shit, all that sexy shit. But
Can we see some moves?
No, not one move. But I'm retired. Okay. But with that said, enough fireball, you never know. But so I was I lived for being in the club and being a part of the party, and that's how I became a promoter, because I spent my early 20s raving and shit, and just having all kinds of fun and just being.
Oh, so you like that Molly?
No.
You feel so comfortable.
I'm 34. I do not take Molly. I have retired from even going to any places where people would take Molly. So disclaimer. But with that said, I spent a lot of time in the club, but behind the scenes. So I know a lot of your favorite DJs, because I spent a lot of time growing up with them. People who DJ for Cash Money, I grew up with them, going into the clubs and stuff like that. So it taught me a lot about the business. I've been in the service industry for almost 20 years. So there's nothing you can't tell me about a club or a restaurant or anything like that.
You're originally from here?
Like, no.
Okay.
I'm both my parents are Marines, so I'm a military brat. They were both like Marines. So with that said, I'm California, then Quantico. Then I like to pick up and move everywhere because that's what I do. So I've lived in Florida, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Texas. You know, I just love to pick up and move. It's the brat in me. But other than being the black sheep entertainment child, I was, pretty good. I turned out pretty well. So I moved up here from Jacksonville, Florida, maybe like 8 years ago, and then went back for a few years, but came back. But ever since then, I've been living in Virginia, like southern part of Virginia, and just kind of driving up here for so many years, up here and in DC for so many years, trying to get my name out there, paying my dues, paying my respects, and getting to know people. But I was literally working as a bartender, and somebody who was throwing the events there didn't want to do it. She was like, I'm done throwing the events at this nice lounge. She said, do you want to do it? Let her do it. She likes to do stuff. She's fun. She likes to party, whatever. And when she was talking about me, somebody that was sitting next to her said, I'm about to do a radio show called Fredericksburg Pirate Radio. Would you like to be a part of a panel of women? A panel of women who every Monday we would get together and talk about what women talk about, which is probably sex. And so not only that, we would talk about men or whatever, so it blew up in small town. Situations happens, like with The View, and sometimes everybody wants to be the Star Jones or the Barbara Walters, and that can't happen. So I ended up getting my own show from that. Somebody asked me in DC if I wanted to do radio, but with that said, still working at that bar, they gave me the reins on throwing parties. So I threw white parties, Latin parties, I did luau's and shit like that, and it was pretty successful. So somebody in DC found out about me. DJ Yellow is his name, actually. Shout out Wu-Tang. And he found me and asked me if I wanted to do radio, and he was doing Bliss FM at the time. But I also had somebody who was working for Ultra Bar who said, I heard you were throwing parties, you want to do that. So it all just kind of came together after sitting up and listening to radio for so many years, listening to who are now my peers, DJ Heat and Pablo and Tati and, Gemini and all these different people who taught me like kind of how to do radio by listening to them, and Eddie Kane. It's crazy to come full circle and then be able to work with them.
So what was your favorite radio station that you worked for?
Ever?
Yeah.
I would say, obviously Bliss is dope and it's fun. It was like legit. Like Bliss was real radio. And but before that, I had 3 other shows. And the reason why I would say my first initial radio show, even though most panels of women do not work, with that said, we could just be free to be ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying? It wasn't all this pressure. I had no pressure. I could just sit in the middle of the group and just kind of be who I am, and people would call in from everybody in that town knows me. So everybody would call in, and I was
Fredericksburg, right?
Fredericksburg. I know nobody.
South Fredericksburg. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good dude with South Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg has been as far as I've had to pay
born?
far.
Oh, I was gonna say it's lit.
I've had to.
I know it's far.
Yeah, it's far because I've had to drive so many hours just to get up here to do all that. But with that said, Fredericksburg is a good town and everybody knows me there. But the only time I felt pressure to do radio was when they asked me to come up off of that show and to do my own show, because then I had to do all the segments, all the music, all the research, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So when Bliss came around, it was like I did a show with Mark. Shout out to Mark Mann, who was my co-host for many years, and we did really good. We interviewed hundreds and hundreds of all of the artists that we all know, like congruently. We all are separated by 6 people, whatever. But I did a spin-off of that show, and it was the Frantastic Live show, and I did both. And when you do radio, you have to come up with everything. You have to come up with every segment. You have to make sure you don't say certain things. You have to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, everything is in line and order, or, you know, there's dead air, or there's all these different things that don't work. Yeah. It's a lot. It's really hard. You know, just sitting in traffic for like 4 hours to drive up here, and then to put on a show.
So what things couldn't you say?
And why couldn't you say it?
You know, just things like normal smart people wouldn't say, like, don't say you don't like Beyonce.
Why?
On the radio.
Because she runs the world.
Basically.
I thought girls ran the world.
Of course, women, not girls.
She's the head.
But you don't want the beehive to attack you, so don't say crazy things like that. You know what I'm saying? Or before things change, I would say things pertinent to kind of like Wale, and not thinking that sooner or later, not just really letting it process it. Sooner or later, of course, it would all get back to him. And now, you know, we're not friends or anything like that, but we're, you know, it's like, it's good, it's fine, there's no beef there. But I would just kind of say things in the way that I felt, not realizing that sooner or later we're gonna, you know, run into each other.
So what's some of the things that you said that you know, you got to learn from experience? I'm pretty sure you said some things on air that you shouldn't have, that came back and bit you in the ass.
I've said a few things on the air that have come back to bite me in the ass, and I mean, I've said some things that I would regret, like we were talking about promotion and how I was, and I called it a janky promoter, and DJ Money was on my show, and we called out a janky promoter, and people just stopped fucking with him, and it's like, I don't want my own personal opinions to cause somebody to be out of work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, I feel like you said that because there is a underlying truth to it. It's people that are janky, like we were talking about before. The DMV scene is pretty new. You know what I mean? We were doing go-go before, and now the hip hop scene come around. So everybody is trying to find their lane per se, and you know, everybody isn't official. So how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about the hip hop scene? I know it's a lot of open mics. A lot of people are paying to perform and not getting paid. People are bringing artists in, saying that they're bringing major artists in. They don't show up just to bring people out. Yeah.
Shoot me now. No. In all seriousness, years ago, I used to Twitter rant. And I used to say, you know, as far as, let's talk about, you know, paying for shows or selling tickets or whatever. I used to say you're absolutely crazy to be paying certain people to pay for shows when they're not even, say, worried about filling out the venue or promoting the show. And I once had people being paid not only to perform, but to get in. You have artists paying for covers to get into their own show. And so, you know, I would let people know that's absolutely as bullshit as you sitting around a bunch of people, local people, telling you why you haven't made it out of the local area, and you paying for that type of information too. The common sense will tell you not to do that, but if they make it a new name, just like with anything else, it's an added little twist or a new thing on it, people are gonna do it. With that said, like, I mean, because of some of the things and some of the reasons why we're stagnant in this area and not getting, say, my D'Angelo style cash money out of here.
Shout out, yeah, definitely, that was a big thing.
You know what I mean? There's only a few people that we can say, and now he's one of the handful of people we can say that actually, I mean, obviously we have Taraji, we have all these like Trey Songz, like type people, you know, whatever, but like local, real hardcore people, to be able to come up and get out of here. DC documentary is on the way for that. I'm about to come together with some of the most famous, well-known, most like area in touch. Shout out to Ad Influence, by the way. People in the community to tell the story as to why we are getting up here. And it's not just a glass ceiling for me as a woman or a black woman or a MC or anything. It's all of us as artists or, you know, whatever we're trying to do, hitting glass ceilings and not being able to travel out of here. And I want it to come from the community. I don't want to say how I feel about it only. I want people to tell the story and say, this is why I feel like, you know, we're not.
This is what's going on.
This is what's going on, okay? Let's just be honest, you know? And somebody who is going to be a part of the documentary and didn't really want his name, like he was kind of like, well, I'm worried. Because I mean, I'm kind of a loose cannon. That's how people know me as radio. I'm going to say pretty much how I feel about anything, but I'm never going to ask you something that's going to put you in a bad position in your work career or your family or anything like that.
I want you to tell me what's real.
And you know what I said, if anything negative comes out of the documentary, because it's a completely positive thing. I've spent years going to, I can't even say, maybe 1,000.
It's kind of like dry snitching, basically.
It's not at all. What I'm saying is I've spent many, many years on this road going to every single one of your showcases. I'll say your showcases. I paid my money. I don't ask to get in for free. I go in and I scout and I watch and I look and I see who's good and who isn't. So, okay, we have all this talent and it's amazing, and I can give you 20 people I know that are better than the hot one, better than the freshman list right now. Not even going into that.
We're not gonna get into that.
And they're not making it out of here. And I want to understand why. I want to talk to the people who are the community leaders in music and industry and ask them these questions. Well, these artists are so amazing and they keep putting forth to these festivals and these parties and these whatevers, but at the same token, then what? I want the story to be told. So just look out for that documentary coming.
Who's
Filming
some of the
starts
people that you
soon.
got featured on?
I can't talk about it.
Nobody? Not a name? No,
Because it went from being
Don't do me like this. Come on, Brian.
It went from...
I need a name.
Adding Influence will be on it.
Okay.
That's
good
I'll
enough.
give
Shout
you
out Eddie.
Shout out
He's on the show.
Shout out Sean.
Oh, shit.
So
Do you know his last name?
I'm not putting that out there, but I did throw that
I
in
want to
there.
know his
He's
last
gonna be
name.
pissed about that, but it's on Facebook.
I'm gonna find
It's
out
on
when you
Facebook.
graduated
It's on
too.
Facebook.
No, he's absolutely one of the dopest people that I know. We go way back to M Street Mondays when we first started promoting parties.
We're still waiting for that AI. You sat on this couch and said M Street was coming back.
What did he say that? Because he told me that.
He told us.
He definitely
told us M Street
He
was coming
definitely
back.
told us on this couch that M Street was coming back. We're waiting on that AI to put the fire in your ass with that one.
You know how crazy it is looking at him grow and his
Yeah, that
growth
shit
though.
was lit.
Because remember how fun that was, but he was like wouldn't even talk on the mic, and then when he did, he was very nervous. Now
He had Smiley hosting it, right? I mean, I was there. He had A.O. Smiley hosting.
We're not going to get into any of the hosting things and all the stuff like that. We're not going to talk about that. But before A.O. Smiley, who deserves everything, because I love her, that's my baby, there was another host. Okay. So then Smiley came in and she changed everything up and made it really super lit. But with that said, now he hosts his own shows. So to have him come back and do M Street Mondays is actually kind of, it'd be pretty cool to see his growth and change in doing that. And I'm using that as an example because that was literally what on top of the sports, zone. You just you go shopping, but go upstairs and there's a whole.
There's an attic up here with that.
Yeah, you go to the attic and it's a super lit live show, and I've always wanted to be able to throw one of those.
Oh yeah.
Sooner or later.
That's
it's
cool.
my turn.
Well, we'll get back into a little bit more of what's going on in
Fantastic
in her world right after this.
back. DMV The Basement. It's your boy Million Mo Easy.
Rico.
You're fantastic.
I think it's time for the segments of the week.
Segments of the week! Yeah. So, we're going to let you take over.
You got it.
Wait, what does that mean?
You're going to tell us who deserves Producer of the Week from the DMV and Artist of the Week.
A Producer of the Week and
Producer of
Artist of the Week?
Just one of each. They get a free promo this week, and we going to shout them out and
you
plug
stamp
and
it.
do all that good stuff. And it's all stamped from you, so it's official. Because you are who you are. You are a DMV power
Fantastic.
player.
That's crazy. Y'all gonna make me pick? That's not
Yes, we
fair.
are.
Yeah.
As far as producers go, I mean, I could give you one that I truly love and respect, but it's just like, artists, I gotta pick one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Producer of the Week would be Miss Gray, 301.
Okay. Hey,
She's
that's the
actually
first time we had a female producer
Yeah.
like
I think
too.
so.
As
Hey,
you
it's
should.
lit.
And you
It's
should
lit.
bring her. She's super, super dope. She has her little undercover, just like you all do the basement. She's got her undercover like studio, and the secret location, home location, and she's just dope. She obviously she worked with me and a bunch of the other resurrecting queens on a lot of different projects, and this is what she does for a living. She's working right now with Go Hard with Mike Lee, but I like to say Go Hard Mike Lee and a bunch of other people, and she's just on another level. I asked her to make a song for the documentary, and she did it in with another person in 30, maybe a couple hours. Which I know that most people can do that, but it was just like watching her produce something live was kind of like a spiritual experience for me.
Of course. Yeah.
So she's also a videographer for me for my Frantastic brand web series that's coming up soon, and then Frantasy After Dark, which is the complete opposite of that, which will also be coming up soon.
Sound like some free shit.
It's some Angela Yee shit because she does both. So Breakfast Club and then whatever. So anyway, with that said, thank you so much, Miss Gray. She is being highlighted this week.
Okay. What about the artist?
If I was going to
No, it's so hard to pick one artist. Everybody always says.
it was really hard, but there's not a lot of artists that inspire me. I know that they're just on a higher level. Definitely can teach a lot, and their energy just is magnetic. And people that have really changed me for the better, just kind of listening to them and watching them grow and evolve. And they also have a new project coming out too, and that would be Uptown Shane, who is over here to the right of me.
Hey.
Pan over here. Say hi, Shane. Tell them when your album's dropping.
LMSC, this Uptown Shane. I'm here supporting Fran though, Fantastic Brand Media Radio. That's what it's all about. But I have a project coming August 30th called Queen Season Frequency 1111. Chew.
There we go.
Alright, there it is.
So why wouldn't I, want to put her on the spot and highlight her? With that said, also Kendall Katrina, Nature Boy, Brain Rap. I gotta throw in a few
Shut
people.
those guys out.
J-Dub.
Oh!
You have to, not lyricist anymore, but Rob Regal, Proverb. So you know what I'm saying? I just had to throw a few people out
Extras
there.
in it because you just couldn't pick.
Because I can't.
You just couldn't pick.
But obviously, Miss Gray and Shane would be my two top picks.
Well,
and you
this
gotta
big
have more
stamp-
women.
We're working on it.
That's why you here.
That's why I'm
we
here.
got some stuff cooking.
Okay.
We'll talk on that.
Oh, off camera,
Okay,
off
we'll
record.
talk on that. That's the segment of the week stamped by Fantastic, y'all.
Thank you. Stand by me. So it's official. Fantastic brand official.
Yeah.
So back to this documentary.
Yes.
When is it coming up?
Soon.
What's
So
This year soon?
definitely this year, probably the summer, the end of the summer, because it's a documentary, so it's not going to take that long to really film. But it's not something that's just going to be like any other documentary you've ever seen out here, and it's going to have a lot of. They can. How rude! Leave me alone. With that said,
She's on DMV The Basement. Leave her alone.
Exactly, right now. I should answer and be like, one time, by the way, I was on the radio and I was on Bliss, and WLBS called me in the middle of my show. And they were like, we want to know if you want to come back and do a show. I was like, hell no, I'm on the air right now. So with that said, I'm on the air. So the documentary, right before I was joining the Resurrecting Queen, shout out to all of these women, 24 of us came together and did, Self-Destruction and a bunch of other amazing things. Howard Fillmore, It's a Movement, Be Ready. I was moving to LA. And Onstage GC asked me to do an interview right before I did. Obviously, I didn't go to LA, but he asked me, hey, I want to do a documentary. You'd be the perfect person involved because I'm so immersed in the DMV underground scene. And we want the underground scene to have a voice and not still be talking about Chuck Brown on media. What's that, Channel 1 show or whatever? Like, that doesn't represent what DC is about. Like, the music culture here and the energy and the vibe. And even though our party scene is at a standstill. Every place that we all partied at, every place that we all promoted at, that we worked at is pretty much gone.
Well, that's just like we was talking about earlier. Shout out to DJ Steve-O.
Shout out Steve-O show.
Ultraviolet is gonna be backlit on Wednesdays because they was doing the international thing
Yes.
for a minute. But you know, we like to party too.
We love to party.
So Wednesdays, check out DJ Steve-O at Ultraviolet. That joint is gonna be lit. I know it's gonna be lit.
Absolutely.
I didn't even make it to the last week's, but I'm pretty sure it was definitely dope.
And there's still some great ones that are still popping. Gemini Rose Bar, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot
Schemes
of
got Rose Bar as
Schemes
well.
also, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Montello. A lot of different people are doing, you know, still holding the party scene together. That's also something that I want to do, bring it all back. We talked about the web series. That's the point of that. Going on the scene on the spot and see if we can't bring our I call it underground, but because it's not being paid attention to. But the clubs and the parties and things like that, letting people know that we are still lit.
So you will be at the all white party on July 30th,
I will
hosted
be,
by me, of course.
Of course I will. I love all white parties. We look like black angels. So yeah. So but it wants to talk about our culture, the music, and I'm putting together the soundtrack as far as the documentary. I took that on as my baby because I want to make sure. And I asked the people who I was interested in doing it. Okay, you have two choices. You can give me a song that you've already done that you're super proud of, like to give you a little taste of the soundtrack.
I love that song.
Or you can do something amazing and new that is geared towards a documentary that speaks about DC, because we're not just doing this with a video camera and me with a microphone. This is a very professionally backed documentary. So it's gonna be really, really dope. And say HBO does pick it up, I want the soundtrack to speak volumes about us, so that way people can say, damn. And at the end of the credits, you'll be able to see everybody that's a part of it.
I think you should have this cranking ass song by this artist named Mariko, because it has that go-go feel.
Does it now?
Yeah, it's lit. I think you should definitely put that in the soundtrack.
Ooh, that cookie kicking in too.
And you know what? With that said, you know, the reason why I asked a couple of women to be a part of this, and I asked some very notable men, but I also asked a Persian rapper to be on it. You know, I want people that still talk. You know, there's Cambodian. There's so many different types of. You know, obviously we have many types of people in the district. I don't want it just to be hip hop or an R&B singer. I want it to be a little bit of go-go. That's
Sweet.
A little bit more.
I got something.
You know what I mean? That's just updated, I guess, version you would say. And I want it to speak in different ways that people aren't expecting.
That's dope.
So yeah, holla at him.
Okay.
Okay, and see if he would like to be a part of it, because I think that would be an extra bonus to the soundtrack. But with that said, it'll be sitting down talking to almost everybody that you know, because everybody's 6 degrees separated by me. And so, but major power players, or so they're called in the DMV, to tell their story and tell why, you know, that glass ceiling is continuing to be hit. Except what we said about Mike D'Angelo. Shout out to you. I want to say congratulations to you on the air for you being signed to Cash Money, because I know you worked really hard for that. So, with that said, that's 1 in a million. But why? Stay tuned to the documentary and find out, maybe just in you seeing everybody else's reactions and responses to the city and the questions, and we're going to go on the scene and do things, maybe you can figure out what's the problem.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for coming out.
Thank
You've
you
been
for having
the perfect guest.
Dropping knowledge.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was so nervous. Like, I mean, this is my first interview, my first live interview on me on film. So thank you two.
Exclusives.
For completely shading me a lot of times. Throwing me out there to the wolves when I already said I'm not answering that. I plead the fifth. They still asked it.
DMV The Basement is raw.
It really is raw, and it's real, and it's hot as fuck. So forgive me that I'm not wearing makeup for any of you today. But taking me as I am and just accepting me for
sure.
Thank you.
Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Now we tuning out.
Mariko.
Million More Easy and Frantasy.